Good evening all. Thank you for joining us. So while waiting for the race to join us, I will play our corporate video.
What keeps you awake at night? What are your hopes and dreams? What if you could plan your life better? At PhillipCapital, we understand every client is unique. Your financial needs evolve over time. An Asian integrated financial house with global operations, we are well versed to address your needs and make your investment journey smoother. Our humble beginnings as a broker in Singapore began in 1975. Today, with more than 5,000 employees across the globe, we serve retail and high net worth individuals, family offices, corporate and institutional customers. Over 1 million clients entrust PhillipCapital with more than $35 billion in assets under management. PhillipCapital was the first to bring online trading platform Poems to Singapore retail investors in 1996. Today, with our wide range of trading platforms and mobile apps, including Poems 2.0, you can trade conveniently and gain leveraged access to global futures, forex, and bullion. As a strong proponent for investor education, we strive to keep you informed through research reports and charting tools. Seminars and webinars are also regularly held to promote financial literacy. At PhillipCapital, we also empower you to monitor your portfolio with MyWealth app. If you lack time to self-monitor, tap on the investment expertise of our professional portfolio managers. Our financial advisors will advise you on investment instruments such as equities or mutual funds available across our network offices. Besides investment goals, you may have protection and saving needs. We offer regular savings plans and a wide range of insurance products to protect you and your loved ones. We can also cater to your estate needs in local and international properties through our property consultancy arm. At PhillipCapital, we believe in thinking global and acting local. Our Phillip Investor Centers and branches across our network offices are strategically located to offer you a one-stop solution to all your financial needs. We provide solutions with API capabilities, online trading, wealth management platform solutions to over 100 financial institutions across the Asia-Pacific region, enabling our B2B partners and their clients the convenience to trade global markets seamlessly. We also provide advisory solutions on corporate finance matters such as IPO, mezzanine financing, and corporate restructuring. With over 45 years of expertise and growth fueled by our clients' trust, PhillipCapital has grown into an integrated financial house with a growing global presence. We seek to continue to listen, understand, and to make your investment journey smoother. We are your partner in finance.
Now, should we play one more round? Or waiting for the rest to join?
I think we can start. I think we've got
most of the participants are already in.
Most of our participants are already in.
Yeah, can you see my slides?
Yep.
Okay. That's great. Okay. Good evening. Good evening all. Yeah, thank you for joining our career webinar today. My name is Mei. So today we have William with us as well as Nabil. Okay. So we are from Partnership Department, Partnership of Phillip Securities, which is also a member of PhillipCapital. Partnership is the department taking care of companies, financial advisory consultants, brokers, remisers, as well as portfolio managers, those who prefer to be on entrepreneurship career model. So there will be two parts to today's presentation. First part will be me sharing more about our business model, introduction to the company, the corporate structure, as well as the support for our financial advisory agents. For the second part, we have invited William, a very successful financial advisory manager, to share with us more about his team culture as well as his experience with us.
And of course, pretty sure after Mei-Ling and William's sharing, I'm very sure everyone here in attendance will be burning with queries and questions. And that's why we open the floor to the Q&As. And that's where you'll be free to ask any questions you like. You can unmute yourself later on, show your face in the video, or if you don't wish to, you can also write in the chat box later on when we open the floor to questions.
Yeah, that's right. So your first question will be, who are you? Yeah, I'm attending this career webinar. We'll do our introduction. For start, just one short introduction about myself. So my name is Mei-Ling. I'll be the first presenter. I'm currently the deputy head of a partnership department in Phillip Securities. I'm currently focusing on recruitment of financial advisory consultant, trading representative, as well as portfolio manager. Okay, so here in PhillipCapital, we will also share about our investment concept, such as myself. I believe I'm a firm believer of compound interest, the power of compound interest. So we'll share about all these investment concept in our training for our new advisory agents as well. On top of that, we'd like to share that Phillip Security has a good and wide connection with the media as well as social media companies out there. So these opportunities will also be shared with our experienced FA as well as our trading representative or our remisiers or agents. Okay, so about PhillipCapital, we are an integrated financial house. Okay, so I believe many of you might have known Phillip Securities as a stockbroking firm. So in fact, in terms of retail broking, we are the largest stockbroking firm in Singapore. But we are more than that. We are integrated financial house. So Phillip Securities is a part of PhillipCapital. Okay. So PhillipCapital has presence in more than 15 countries. Give an example, such as we own a life insurance company in Thailand. We own a bank in Cambodia. We have stockbroking firm even in Turkey, Hong Kong, etc. So a global presence. Our client can trade more than 26 exchanges through our points platform. And our agents and clients have access to more than 2,000 unit trusts through our platform, both trading and advisory platforms. We also partner with more than 35 insurance partners. So our agents advisory, I'll say, independent. So you do not need to be product focused. You can be client centric and client focused because we carry a total of more than 40,000 financial products. So our agent will be able to curate a portfolio of products that really suits the needs of their clients. Our clients are all over the world. So I just want to share some of the experience, such as a client that I onboarded from Papua New Guinea. So our agents will have a unique URL in which, or QR code in which they can onboard clients from all over the world. It can be, we have clients from South Africa, Middle East, Europe areas. So you can also onboard your client using your unique QR code, using your unique URL to onboard your client. So your business is not just local. Your business with us will be global. Okay. So for Singapore, I believe many of you might have seen our PIC before, or Phillip Investor Centers. We have 14 investor centers across Singapore. Some of you might have seen many of the investor centers very close to MRT station. So our 14 of them, 4 of them are franchisee. What does it mean? It means our FA or stockbroker as a team, they actually own the branch. This will be an example of an avenue for growth. For team joining us, you have the opportunity to franchise your own investor center. And this can be your permanent roadshow to reach out your clients. Here, some pictures of some of our Phillip Investor Center, like which is our franchise investor center. So we will choose a venue. You do not need a big shop. It's more of a venue for you to do your permanent roadshows, for you to meet your clients at the same time, for client to reach out to you. Okay, the next question I might have, okay, so this is Philip, but how about details of the product available? Yeah, so I'm going to share a few products available. Because when we talk about IFA, some of you might only link to one particular product, which is protection related. But over here in Phillip Securities, we offer a wide range of products from transactional to advisory to discretionary. So these are the products that you see on the screen over here. Okay, transactional, what does it mean? It means even if you're sleeping, your client transfer money into the auto money market fund, you will get a cut of the income. While you're sleeping, if your client were to open trading account with you, even if you are not broker license, if you are not trading representative license, some of you might know the term. If you are not stockbroker, you are pure financial advisor, you get a cut as well. Those are transactional basis. Because as your client trusts you more, because very likely most of Singaporean out there or most of the client really know our points platform. So transactional can be a tool for you to reach out to clients. And subsequently, as the client know you more, know you better, the trust quantum will increase. And that's how we can move the client to advisory. And you provide more services in terms of financial advisory type of services. What you see on the screen, such as your unit trust, red and non-red securities advisory, as well as managed account, which is a customized portfolio for you, customized portfolios or securities. Yeah, and then subsequently, as the client trusts you more, you'll be able to work on discretionary type of services in which a lump sum of investment, and then you have the right to manage the portfolio. So there will be other portfolio license at the same time. Of course, under financial planning, you can onboard client with discretionary portfolio. So those are examples of the product, the wide range of product that we carry. In terms of licensing, it's very interesting. I would love to share more as well. So for us, right, the broker, they will be called trading representative. So TR, trading representative, they are the stockbrokers. And FA will be financial advisory consultant. So what are they? Because FA, probably some of you might know FA is IFA, for example, or can be insurance agent. So generally, FA will provide holistic financial planning, focusing on protection as well as wealth accumulation. Yeah, and for the discretionary services, we also have portfolio manager. Well, I found it interesting because over here in Phillip Securities, we will be able to combine TR and FA license. We have dual license FATR, which means your stockbroker, your financial advisor at the same time. We also have FAPM. You can be a financial advisory consultant and portfolio manager at the same time. That means you manage the portfolio for client using portfolio management license, which means you pick stocks for client while you are an FA. So dual license for FAPM is possible in Phillip Securities. We do have another group, another combination of license in which your main focus is portfolio manager. However, you will still be able to service trading client through XTR, through access to the system. But you can't execute trade, but you have access to service the TR clients. So these are the possible combinations of licenses in Phillip Securities. Okay, so since we have multiple sources of income, they will translate to multiple sources of product will translate to multiple sources of income. Of course, our encouragement is more moving towards recurring, more passive type of income. Because for a start, someone shared this with me. For the first 2 years, you probably overwork underpaid. But subsequently, after the fourth, fifth year of joining us, you'll be underworked but overpaid. Because majority of income will be under recurring income. We have a structure with a system for you to build a recurring income type of business. I see an example of the power of multiple sources of income. This is one example, typical example. This Mr. Lim will join us. If you happen to meet us, we can show you IRAS to prove that these are the real number. A typical example, Mr. Lim joined us somewhere mid of the first year. And subsequently, within fourth year, more than fourth year of joining us, he has hit an income of above 400,000 and has never dropped below 400,000 before per year. And based on the last assessment, the estimate of passive income is about 70%, and the remaining 30% is more on active income. Okay, I'll move on to quickly talk about infrastructure and support before I hand over to William. Okay, so we have our infrastructure, which means we have our system to support our sales force. If I talk about POEMs, probably many of you will be very familiar, trading platform. So trading platform, when you onboard your client under POEMs, they will have access to trading platform. There's another platform called wealth management platform in which both you and your client will have access to. So what does it mean? It means any transaction that you have, right? Unlike when I was with a bank, I have a few years of working experience with a bank when you fill out our paperwork. But over here, most of the processes are digital processes. So if you want to recommend a portfolio, just a few clicks through app, your client will be able to approve through app for the same day transaction. At the same time, we also have our customer relationship system. Your client will have access to this platform as well. Okay, so quickly I would like to share that we also support, this is William over here. We support our reps for their social marketing and branding activities. So all our FA will have their own URL. That means your own web page. You have a web page that you can share and paste, and you can advertise anywhere. And through the web page, you can share about yourself, your achievements, as well as a link for you to onboard your clients. So a link for you to open an account. Remember, we can onboard clients from anywhere around the world. So anyone who have access to your unique link or your web page will be able to open an investment account or trading account that will be tagged to you. So those are the support that we have for our reps. I just want to quickly talk about trainings. Yes, for those who are new to the industry, training will be available for you. We have this 3 months, 12 weeks comprehensive training conducted by internal and external trainers, in which will teach you not just the hard skill. Just like we have seen that quite a lot of products. We have a wide range of financial products. It might not be easy, I would say, for someone who is new to the industry to learn all the financial products. But no need to worry, trainings will be provided. We teach you not just the hard skill, we also teach you the soft skill needed to be successful in the financial industry. Soft skill means we'll share with you what is biopsychology. We'll share with you soft skill, telephone skill, meeting skill. We even have the role play training for you. Yeah. So this is one example. We have completed cohort 5 and cohort 6 of our Fast Start training program. So those are candidates who completed 3 months training program, a certificate to be issued to them. On top of that, they will also be issued a few certificates certified by IBF. Okay, next I'll pass to William, who has many years of experience. William also has a lot of experience from the bank before joining us. He is doing very well. He's a successful financial services manager here in Phillip Securities. Over to you, William, to share more.
Hi. Thanks, Mei-Ling. Thanks, Nabil. And hi, Joshua also. And yes, hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Hope everybody had a good dinner already. I will try to do this more on a casual manner. Of course, I will be doing the presentation. Feel free at any point of time, if you have burning questions and you can't remember, just log it down in the chat, or at the end of the session, feel free to speak up. I also see some familiar names. I think I might have one of my secondary school schoolmates around here. But anyway, let's kickstart. Very excited to share some of my own experience with all the participants here. Okay, so let me do a share screen. Okay, and let me go straight to the slides. Okay, so simple personal introduction before I go on to the main bulk of today's presentation. Everybody, my name is William. Chinese name is Deng Fong. So I've been with Phillip since 2014. Basically, I'm having a team. We are working with one contractual portfolio manager with us, and I have 7 senior partners under my team. So on my own, I'm managing about 48.3 million of my clients' investment. So it's a combination of wrap accounts through unit trust and also through customized discretionary managed portfolios. Basically, a discretionary portfolio consisting of ETFs and stocks and funds also. So prior to joining Phillip in 2014, I was a relationship manager at Citibank. So was there for about since 2009. So right after the Lehman Brothers crash in 2008. So the bottom of the market was February, March in 2009. Quite a sobering time to join the banking industry. Stayed down there as a personal banker role, then moved on to promoted to RM, and was down there for a good 6 years. Learned a lot of things, very grateful for the opportunity in the bank. What was interesting is a little bit of a story as to why I moved on to Phillip, because I think it's always good. I speak from the point of view of all participants here, my thought process and how I come about joining Phillip. So it's quite interesting because I used to have a branch mate in City, and we know all our fellow colleagues, their sales numbers and how they're doing. So I have this colleague called Lynn, and she's interesting because she's always going for trips to Europe, Middle East, and all over the place, right? So first question I asked her is, hey Lynn, how is it that I know your sales number, but why are you like going for trips all the time? I say, is your dad loaded or your mom's loaded? She say, yeah, I'll often go with my dad. And I'm like, okay. And that time I was already in my 5th year in the bank. And there are reasons as to why I made the move. I think the key thing is after you build your relationship with your clients a couple of years into the bank, the reality is, let's put it bluntly, running what the pros and cons are. Let's be a bit more objective. Let's not paint the picture. But what I say, I'm very grateful because without Citibank being my first job, I wouldn't have knew my clients. I wouldn't have been able to amass the assets that I am running as partners together with Phillip today. So, but to give context, you can call it relationship manager role, but the main thing is you're running sales at the bank. So the pros of it is the bank have a hell lot of accounts for you to go and tap on. Essentially, the moment you enter the bank, they give you a good fixed pay, but they literally give you about, let's say, anything ranging from 30 to 40 mil of fixed Ds, savings accounts. Maybe that will give you about a list of 100 to 150 clients. So your job scope is to comb it and sell something. And how my ex-boss in the bank will always joke with us, hey, you know, your pay, your commission, the table that you sit on, the rental that your branch is paying to the landlord, depending on where you were. I was in Tampines and I moved on to Paragon. You are paying a function of it. So if you're earning 10K a month, including comp, you jolly well better bring in 30 to 40,000, which is like 3 to 4 times. So we all know how corporates work. So the case of my push factor so we talk about the pull factor together with my friends. So I asked my colleague then, hey, so what's your dad doing? So turn out, small world, right? She said, oh, my dad's an independent financial advisor. I'm like, okay, that's something very new. Although I'm in the banking industry, I was like really curious and I was looking. So the push factor led me to ask around, right? And keep my eyes open, my mind open. So The push factor was simply put, after a number of years, you build rapport, you amass a level of experience and assets and clientele worth in the bank. The question comes next is the targets are oftenly very intensive and it's on a monthly basis. So the key question down here is the last thing you want to do is to put it this way: you're already 6 years into the banking industry. You don't want to keep on pushing products down the client's throat. So I think it's a very hard balance. And so that was one of partially the push factor. I think the pull factor was there another way that I could carry on my expertise, my interest in investment, but do it in a very sustainable manner on a self-employed basis. So it was kind of funny. It turned out I through this colleague, I found out that my his father is a financial services director at Phillip. Of course, that being said, first, right, the first company, you don't just jump into the first one. So I went out, I talked to people from at least 3 other firms, being Financial Alliance, PIAS, Finexis. At the end of the day, one of the major pull factor when I joined is, I think the key thing down here is, I'm not too sure, maybe some of y'all know, like most FA firms, their platform where they host the investment or custodize the investment is with iFAST or with Navigator, which is owned by Aviva, which is now changed name to Singlife, or Phillip. So there are really just a few big players. And to me, it's important because you want to start a business, you got to think far, right? Your clients are in this journey, and you know how money works. We often think very abstract, do about business. When we manage people's money, it's very much like how we would think for ourselves. So the first thing I thought about myself is, if I want to let somebody manage my money, it has to have longevity, it has to be sustainable, it has to be very long run. So one of the key questions here is, most investments are custodized with iFAST, which obviously owns the Fund Supermart. If some of y'all don't know who iFAST is, and iFAST is one of the crazy companies. During the 2020 post-pandemic, their share price went from $1 to $10. So just to give some context. But my point here is, I wanted a platform that we knew the stakeholders, we knew the product managers. And I think that is important, because when you do a business, you have to think farther. If you want to bring in newer products and you want to work closely with the team, you need to figure out who your stakeholders are. So those are, that particular reason is one of the major key reasons that also put me to deciding on Phillip. Okay, so let me just basically share a little bit context, because to be very fair, out there are a lot of FA firms, and I may not know the percentages, but I know a lot of my ex bank RMs friends who left the industry, the bank, but still doing very similar to what we're doing in other FA firms. A lot of their focus is a lot on insurance. So before I kickstart this, whole flow, my expertise almost like what Mei Ling mentioned, my recurring, like the Mr. Lim as a case studies from 2007 to the 5th year, where 70% of his recurring is and then 30% is maybe a la carte from non-recurring sources of revenue. For me, it's quite straightforward. I think when I came into Phillip in 2014, you have to do anything to bring in the business. So one of the pull factors was the platform really allowed me to bring in general insurance. So at least try to establish a relationship with the clients who maybe will not really do investments with you, but hey, you know what? You just approach them and tell them, hey, your motor insurance, you want to kind of like I help you source. So you have your general insurance, you have your life insurance, you have your and general insurance is good because it can deal with the company's business insurance, cybersecurity insurance, life insurance. Sometimes you do a review. You had to establish an angle to kind of bring in the clients. So you can imagine, as good as anybody, normally your year 1, year 2, your non-recurring is very high, or percentage of your revenue, and your recurring takes time, like what Mei Ling says. Fast forward now, coming into the 8th year into Phillip, I can say I've on my own, my forte really is not on general insurance and life insurance. I literally kick that away. My core forte, I might be wrong. I think I speak for myself. I think I lie very strongly with the saying, I don't want to be jack of all trades, master of none. I think in the financial advisory line, a lot of people are coming into our line. So you have to decide based on what your passion is and strengthen where your strength or where your passion is. So to me, I like investment a lot. And I think I'm very academic in that sense. I love a lot of research. I like to read a lot. So I decide to focus on that. And I built a track record behind that. So basically going into this presentation, almost 95% of my yearly revenue really comes from investments itself based on management fee. So this gives you some context. We started, and this is also kudos. This all this beautiful thing is not done up by individual team. You know, if you have some friends in the advisory line, they do up and spend a lot of money. This is kudos to marketing, people like partnership department, which is headed by Mei-Ling. We also have our marketing guys, which are not here, but thanks to these guys, painstakingly create all this nice, you can say very beautiful kind of way to recognize our contribution to the company. Because if we still have to manage investment, run sales, and still do this, I think it's a little bit too much. So kudos to the guys. So these are all some a little bit of what I've been focusing on is really on investment. So I joined 2014. I nothing to brag. I'm just sharing with you my whole journey because I'm a workaholic, and I think I stand from a point of being very fiduciary. I always put myself in my client's shoes. So to me, this awards is a side benefit. I feel that if we focus a lot on where the client comes from, the good stuff will come naturally. So I want to share some of this photo. This is my wife, girlfriend before that, because also important to share with you my journey. I was in a bank, of course, back then on a good month. If you have friends in the bank, nothing to shy about. Earning 20 over grand a month is pretty common among the banking industry. You can almost imagine leaving there and coming over here with $0. Oh, scares you. Luckily, I don't have kids. Back then, my girlfriend was telling me, as you can see here, her name's Zoe. Interesting story, because I asked her, hey, I want to come out on my own, but I'm scared. I'm a very risk-averse guy. Maybe that's, I wouldn't say risk-averse, maybe the right word is traditional. So my wife said, hey, why are you so scared? Just quit. I mean, if you don't do well, just leave, Philip, and you go back to the banks. The banks are never short of hiring salesmen. So that basically started, and this was taken at Uluwatu in Bali. That was my first incentive trip with Philip back in 2014. So just to remember, so you can clearly tell I've aged a lot. So back in 2014, we haven't got married. This was 2015 in Taiwan on the left-hand side, also incentive trip. Then that was on the right in Japan in 2016. And then my wife got pregnant. We got married in 2016, so she was working for me as my assistant. So clearly, my whole life journey basically really started with Philip. So she was pregnant with my first kid, and now I already have two girls, both 5 and 3 years old. So you can see this was 2018, how to gain from a trade war. So it gives you some timeline as to all this. And then that's my mom, that's my younger girl. We went to Korea, I think it was 2018. And then some of the awards like top managed account, and then I represent Philip to represent like financial planner awards in back 2019. And then brilliant thing about Philip, we have connections. We also can write article. I appeared on Straits Times. So I think it's very good to find the right platform and really elevate yourself in that sense. So then the latest trip, this is pivotal because this is important. The last time we had an overseas trip was 2019 November. This was to what's China, but my memory skips me, Yunnan. Yeah, so and then COVID hits. Okay, so then I had my first partner. Also, my logic or my own methodology is I don't go hunting for people. I think it's like what I mentioned. I build a forte, I build what I think is an important track record. And I always think that if I benefit the clients, naturally the good thing comes. So this is my first partner, his name is Hong Wei. Engineering background, very important to actually come in, because then it helps with a lot with the strategies in regards to our portfolio, which I'll touch on later. Okay, and then for strange reasons, I have no idea. Sometimes it is what we call affinity and fate. So in a very strange way, straight away, my team started to grow quite quickly within the last, in fact, during once my first partner came on board. So in all, we basically have 7 partners together with 1 portfolio manager that we cross. So this was all during pandemic times now, right? So it was quite hard for the last 2 years. We really couldn't do much face to face. Okay, so let's go on to the actual stuff. It's not that I want to overshow my own. I think it's important in a way, because when you join somebody, you need to give context. Because there are really so many FA firms out there, and a lot of them, like I say, I might be percentages wrong, but I think 90% of most teams really focus on insurance. I can also tell you very gladly what the banks are doing out there. If today you have a priority bank account, you go to the bank, you know what your relationship manager or your financial consultant in the bank is going to do you? They're also going to sell you insurance first, because it is the way how commissions are really much more thick and lucrative in that sense. So there is nothing wrong, because from I'll later touch on, I mean, from a pyramid basis, right, your foundation must always be done. But then that comes after. When your foundation is done, you have to move on to wealth accumulation, which I think that's what me and my team's core focus on. Okay, so what's interesting is, I also want to be fair. Everybody here comes in with different methodology, different mindset. So I just want to re-emphasize a little bit what Mei-Ling mentioned. The brilliant thing about Phillip is we do not anchor you and say that, oh, William's team is that way, therefore you die have to do it, or recurring. Some clients like transactional. I give you some examples. High net worth clients tend to buy corporate bonds. Okay, no matter how you sway them left and right into funds or wrap accounts or discretionary portfolios, a certain part of their cash flow will be corporate bonds, which is 250,000 per piece. And those are very transactional. You sell one, maybe your comp is only going to be about anywhere between, the maximum spread is about 1 to 2%, sometimes even lower if they are private banking status, meaning they probably get like 0.5 to 0.35% spread from the bank. So if they do it through you under Phillip, it's very transactional. So the brilliant thing about it, we can do corporate bonds. We can do very transactional basis. If the client doesn't want to pay us an annual management fee. We move on to advisory, which is then where my main part of my revenue is. So advisory just basically means I give advice, and then I earn an annual advice fee, or what we call a management fee in most hedge fund or fund management, for simplistic manner. Of course, we can go into very technical jargons here, but I don't want to, because I assume for the benefit of everybody that for easier understanding. And then of course, discretionary is wonderful, because a lot of people thought hedge funds means super high net worth. People give you money, then you, like a black box, do whatever you want. We have the ability to do so, but we don't have to get the client to declare accredited or very high net worth, which accredited means actually nasty for the clients. Accredited means they waive off section 275 of their investor rights, which means they give away their ability to actually sue us or the advisor. So my point here is, we have ways to legally work around and be able to give the advisors platform where we can go through all 3 routes with using various products. Okay, so this point is also important. Same thing likewise, everybody comes in, everybody does different things. Okay, my own role, I'm holding a financial advisor representative license. Okay, the brilliant thing about Phillip is, you can be a FA, which is a financial advisory representative. You also can be a trading rep. Trading rep, basically very much like a broker, you buy and sell shares for the client. But even as a financial advisory representative, you can still manage to buy and sell clients' stocks and ETF, also through what we call a securities advisory. So what's interesting is, we have so many ways to go around it, but what we avail to people who join us as partners is, if today you want to be a portfolio manager, by all means. Today you want to be a financial advisory, we nowadays even exploring the route of FAPM, which is financial advisor / portfolio manager. Or like what Mei-Ling mentioned, we have a lot of trading representative who are maybe from other brokerage houses, but because, as you know, people like Mumu, and which is owned by Futu and Tiger, sorry, I might get it wrong, Tiger and let's say Momo, nowadays their spread are, oh my God, it's so low, like even Robinhood, right? So to give perspective, there are a lot of trading representatives who then hold a dual license. So it's a brilliant platform. You will not find such platform if you think, I'm telling you as a matter of fact, go to PIS, go to anywhere else, you wouldn't find this. So I'm helping you to, if you guys are doing shopping around, save your time in that sense. Okay, so let's go on to, we skip all this. Okay, so some examples, what are transactional stuff? So we kind of put things in context again. It's always important to be a little bit more detailed on this. So what are transactional things like ETF, stock shares? We also have contract for differences, margin. That means we even have our own credit where clients can do premium financing, personal loans, even business loans. And then we have warrants and money market facility. Money market facility is very interesting because a lot of clients put money in a brokerage account, not wanting to just earn $0. So what a money market fund essentially is a fund that combines very short duration bonds, many government debt and fixed deposits. It's a composite of it, and basically we accrue this interest on a pro rata basis, whether is it weekly or by daily. So what happens is at least the client park money with us, they don't get eroded by inflation so much. Advisory pretty much will be life insurance, investment linked policies, unit trusts. Securities wrap basically is a wrap discretionary. I want to say an advisory account that wraps around ETFs and stocks, so you don't have to be a trading representative. You can still be a financial advisor and still manage client stocks and ETFs. And then managed account is basically what we call our discretionary portfolio management. And then of course, discretionary will be your managed account, which covers quite a whole list of things. Okay, so what's brilliant is you can function in many methods within the team to decide where your path might want to be. So that's the wonderful thing about having choices. Okay, so the main thing at the end of the day is with wealth management, when you address different clients, you will meet clients at different aspects of their life. So if you meet someone who just graduated, well, risk management, which is through insurance, is very important, right? But then when you come to, let's say, most of my banking clients that I've left, a lot of them are all well established already. So a lot of them are more on the wealth preservation and accumulation under the investment portion, and maybe a very small percentage translate into estate planning, which is at the top. So what me and my team really focus on is from the wealth accumulation and onwards. But that being said, we still do insurance because it is part of our license. If it's sometimes unavoidable, because once you establish a relationship with a client, think of your client like your friend. They're not just going to, very naturally when they meet you, they'll be like, hey, my kid needs an integrated shield plan. You do it. I am really not keen to like just go outside and find another advisor. So that's a good thing about our platform too. Okay, so then let's talk about what are your like active income. So it's like your insurance mainly, and then how the banks normally charge you through unit trust and managed account. They will charge you upfront sales charge. Brokerages are mainly your securities. So even if clients die want to buy their stocks DIY themselves, you can still open accounts with them. You earn a very low overriding over there. Okay, but you know what? The whole point is, you know what's the brilliant thing about Phillip? So just to share with you a little bit is what's also very interesting about the pull factor in Phillip. When I used to work in the bank, it was so frustrating. I have corporate clients who are filthy, dirty, rich kind, comes into the bank and say, I want to open a corporate account. And you know what we have to do? We have to refer them away because there are rules of engagement in the bank. If you are retail, you never touch corporates. Okay. And we also have clients who are pure foreigners who come in and say that I want to open an account. And then you know what? We refer them to the offshore bankers because you just can't close cross boundaries, cross businesses, because it's very predatory. You know what's the best thing about Phillip? You can, my furthest client is in Holland, literally. So he's a Dutch. I'm managing his money here. I have guys who are from Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Holland, China. So just to give you context, we can manage overseas money also. Number two, I also do corporates. I have a couple of schools under my care. I have a non-profit organization, mainly a church. So basically, these are also being able to be opened as a corporate account. So that's one of the brilliant things that we can do over here. Most places are quite, I would say, tough, because like what I say, we know the guys who are managing the platform down here. Anything not sure, just give them a call. Okay, then what are your recurring income? Of course, insurance and all those, but the bulk of it is really mainly your securities wrap, your managed account, your money market trailer fee, your wrap fees. These are really the bulk of where the recurring income is coming from. So just to give you some context, actual case study in the team. So we based on 2015 all the way to 2020. So to give you context, the gray color area here is your non-recurring income. Your main blue column is what we call your recurring income. So basically this shows you how basically actual case study of how do we break down in roughly what you manage is actually translate to how much you are bringing in. So let's say on the top, you can see 2.5 million. If you're managing about 2.5 in easy, all these are gross revenue. So what I'm basically means is gross revenue you bring in, then of course you do some sharing with the platform, and then the rest is your own personal income. So in simplistic terms, I don't want to overdraw some of the accounts where the clients are very large in terms of the amount we charge them more preferential, but roughly the annual management fee ranges anything from 0.75 to 1.5%. So we average it out around 1%. So in simplistic terms, 2.5 million gives you about 25,000 yearly revenue. 6.5 gives you 65, 11.5, and then so on and so forth. Nothing too complicated. The gray areas are mainly done through insurance and general insurance. So what's interesting is, of course, all these numbers look very big, doesn't give you context, right? So one of the key things is just to draw a little bit into context. I put all these per day. What it means is how long does it take to basically generate, let's say, to gather 2.5 million, that means you run sales and bring in about $9,000 a day for 365 days, then you come up to be about 2.5. And then so on and so forth each year as you get a bit larger. Obviously, the differential is therefore that you have to bring in slightly more. So let's say in this simplistic term, you 11.5. So to bring up to 16.5, which is 5 million, you just have to run sales and make sure in roughly 19,000 of investment per day. But obviously, it's not going to be, I'm just doing simplistic terms. Clients don't work that way. A lot of times you establish, later I'll go on to what I think is pivotal when you want to, okay, this kind of business is what we call AUM. Simplistically, it's an acronym for assets under management. The key thing down here is not about really running sales. I think a lot of people has this misconception when you're doing investment, you're really running sales. I think at the start, establishing relationships is very important. So I will go on to the next area, which I think are the key driving areas to really bringing in a successful assets and AUM business model. To me, the blue line is this particular area here is the most important. I think one of the key area is I kind of wish when I went into Phillip, unfortunately, my director, which is my colleague's, I forgot to mention the finish of the story. So end up, my colleague's father became my boss or my director, my reporting director. Unfortunately, it was so hard out there to really find someone who had expertise in investment. So I literally had to build a strategy, a model. I had to learn all the hard ropes all by myself. And it wasn't easy because I can say I look back and I have to be thankful for some of my clients who I can say, although it's sad to have some of them exit their positions with me in the early days, but that really gave a wake-up call in a lot of ways. So with no failures comes no improvement in that case. So my point here is what me and my team have is experience. So therefore comes mentorship, which I think is very important because I'm speaking so candidly is because how I wish, looking back in my own business, I wished I had found a mentor before I actually decide to embark this. But in life, nothing comes perfect, right? So it is what it is. So to me, I quote one of those guys that I look up quite a lot. You can go Google this guy's called Quantage, spelled as quantitative quant, Quant, EDGE, started by two adjunct professors in SMU, and they are very impressive because they are a hedge fund started quite a long time ago, almost close to 20 years back. And back then, they were in the quantitative model, so a lot of momentum trading basically. And they started just with 1 million of their family, friends' money. And today they are managing well, close to the north of more than 1.3 billion USD and above. And very interestingly, they interviewed them, and when asked what are some or the punchline to take away for people who want to build an investment business, is to focus a lot on track records. And what I mean, I think, is quite straightforward, right? Because if you put yourself in the shoes of, let's say, you are a very successful career person or entrepreneur, you're good at what you're doing. You do not pretend to be good at something else that you're not. For example, investment. So how do you quantify an investment manager or somebody that you want to do investment with, aside to trust and being very comfortable with the person's character, because that really drives where the investment is also going to be managed. Like what I mentioned, investment management is a lot, not just a 1 year thing. It's going to be a 10, 15, 20 year, maybe, like what it is. Some of my clients have transitioned their next generation onto me already. So my point here is track record is very important. So later, I'll share a little bit what do I mean by proprietary. So this is also important because I think every team have their own trade secrets, you can say, therefore generating the track record. Okay, so one of the few things, this is our track record. It's a composite of our clients. Basically, how we measure is we take some of our clients who are basically right with us from 2014 all the way until now. So one of the key focus, you can see, markets has been very, very kind to us. This year is actually a very interesting year where both bonds and equities are all dropping year to date. So to give context, it's a very challenging time this year. But what's our core focus, I can really say down here, is think of me and my team, I think myself, where I drive the strategy, I really focus a lot on reducing portfolio volatility. Okay, so I just want to give you some context to kind of really segregate, because I know when we're on this topic, the whole universe of investments are so complicated, so diverse. You want to talk about very exotic stuff, there's even digital assets like crypto and whatnot. But put it this way, remember, same thing, pyramid shape. Every pension funds, think of, I always tell myself and the team, our core focus is very much like a pension fund manager. We want to manage the bulk of the client's money, which is traditional assets, which is mainly index. That's our key thing. And then we try to reduce portfolio volatility by basically overweight and underweight risk depending on technical indicators and depending on market circumstances and economic indicators. So really, it's a bit different from your robo-advisors, but I will leave this later. I don't want to over technicalize the whole comparison. I am more than happy to answer some of this question subsequently. So I think the core focus is we put ourselves in our client's shoes. We also think about running a sustainable business. So I always tell my clients the same thing. We are not here as hedge funds to 30% volatility, which also then have an expected return of 20 to 30%, because such high return, high risk kind of strategy, you know how your clients is going to treat you. They're going to treat you as the outlier, that apex down there. Okay, you do well, I'll use you. You don't do well, I'll kick you out. But they always need a core fund manager. They always need a core financial advisor who can tell them how to asset allocate. And I think that's important. So that's pretty much where our forte is. Okay, so maybe I don't want to bore you too much about all these things. Okay, so just to show you a little bit, I mean, this is a very good example of the S&P 500, and this is one of our core assets that we have through the Vanguard ETF. So you can see the green arrows are dictated by our purchases. The red is dictated by where we reduce risk and we cut down equity positioning within our client's portfolio. So you can pretty much tell, we pretty much can spot. I will never say it's easy. I'll be very frank here. I've been doing this for 13 years coming. You can never know the bottom. You can never know the top. But there are ways to tell, mainly from technicals and from economical. And I think, like what I say, we don't believe in the extreme polarity where we buy everything and then we sell everything, because the nature of markets it's always that difficult, right? Even for a seasoned player like myself, I can still tell you it's still challenging. So the key thing down here is we practice a lot based on data, based on research, we base on a lot on humility, and then backtest a lot of this thing and we apply this into the strategy. So I think the key thing down here, this basically showcase a little bit of how we try our best to bottom pick. Like I say, we can never know the bottom of the market's rebound. We also kind of try to spot the topish end of the market cycles. So I like to quote one of my go-to guys. Maybe some of you know Howard Marks, CEO, founder of PhillipCapital, distressed debt hedge fund, one of the biggest out there. He comes out with a memo. He wrote a book about market cycles. So one of the key things is pretty much markets are going through cycles, multiple cycles, small cycles within the big macro cycles. So you can pretty much say the run-up post-pandemic with all the fiscal policies also gave the necessity for a mean reversion, which is exactly what's happening now, given the three major headwinds, which is mainly the supply chain woes exacerbated by China's zero COVID stance. Then, of course, you have your inflation and then your quantitative tightening by the Feds. So, of course, they're not forgetting the Ukrainian, which then pose a lot much more supply chain woes and inflationary pressures in Europe and in soft agriculture when it comes to wheat and corn. So what I'm basically trying to say here is that recognizing economic cycles are important, and that's one of those key things that we also look at within our proprietary investment strategy. Okay, so that being said, all these are very technical, right? So I do not want to underemphasize one of the most important things is actually still relationship management. Being a successful, or I would say, I do not dare claim successful. I think I look a lot to my peers in US, and a lot of these guys are managing northward of 100 million USD and above, right? So let's be humble down here. But I mean, based on my 13 years experience, I think the key thing down here, it's both a mixture of relationship management and knowing your stuff, which is basically your track record, whether you can execute the strategy appropriately and consistently through time. So I think connection is very important, which means that a lot of our mentorship also comes when how do you really build trust? And a lot of times trust is also built through your ability to be very experienced in the industry and know that, okay, a lot of time I give you one example how mentorship is pretty important, right? So I have guys who come to me who are engineer background, who literally don't have banking background. And it's all important because a lot of time when they speak to high net worth individual, or let's just define just mass affluent rather than say high net worth, because a lot of the mass markets are mass affluent. So there's a really good enough business. Those at mass affluent easily can give you 50, 100, 200, 300K easily. So my point here is a lot of times when people start noticing that you have a foray into investment, that means you know what the banks are selling in terms of structured products, how they function. That itself builds that humanistic approach to connect with a potential client. And many times in my own career of my own, running my own business together with my partners, a lot of times it's the same thing. We always have classic examples where I quote you one where my client asked me, "Hey, William, my client's a Penguin Club member. They are Eurasian British. They had a client who is a friend who runs a private equity firm, and they are interested to invest with them." Right? All sounds very sexy, right? Of course, prior to you guys might have known what just happened. This 1 year has been not kind to venture funds, private funds, even we call explosive growth companies like Katie Wood's ARKK, for example, is really down 67% from the peak. So my point here is, before all this crash, all of this is damn sexy. In a bull run, as the saying goes, the tide lifts up all the boats, right? Then when the tide recedes, then you know who's swimming naked. I always thought it was quite funny. But to give context, we will go to such events, oftenly assisting our existing clients or even friends, and give our 2 cents worth about what we think about the private equity deal. And it's always surprising, right? And when they ask you, "Hey, what do? You sound like you know quite a lot of stuff." "Oh yeah, we do mass retail, we do retail investment management." And a lot of times you got clients who straight away say, no, not clients, prospects, people I don't even know. One of this guy, he just said, "Oh, I've got quite a lot of stuff got stuck in the city." I was like, wow, okay, what a coincidence. But I don't really think it's a coincidence. I mean, in Singapore, how many banks do you have? So straight away he became a client, and it's just because, simply put, sometimes through a conversation and through sharing, that in itself is a good way to start sussing up your prospects or potentially having prospects. So in the investment line, it's not like insurance. Insurance requires a lot of relationship management, a lot of selling. I want to be very fair. I might sound super biased. I still want to be fair. 95% of my colleagues all do insurance. Maybe I just speak from experience. Investment is a little bit very different. I think it comes from being an expert in one area. And people come to you not because you want to sell them, because it is so hard to find someone who knows their stuff out there. So I give you some context. I already say you go to the bank, your banker will never put your interest first. That is the truth, okay? Even if you can find one, like how myself when I used to do, it is very conflicting. It is so tiring to run sales, yet still think for the client. So there's always that conflict of interest. Then you go robo-advisors. So I touched a little bit on robo-advisors down here. I'll be very frank with you. Robo-advisors are the next best thing anybody could have asked for. A lot of people out there don't really realize how good robo-advisors are because maybe you're not in the line. But I'll tell you why. If you have a long-term horizon, they are fantastic instruments. They basically put what pension funds are doing, in what institutions are doing into retail. And what's the most wonderful thing? Their management fees are the lowest. And you can start literally with what? 1,000 USD equivalent of Sing dollar, which is so ridiculous. You go to a bank, your RM will look at you, less than 50,000, no need to give a discount, charge you 3% upfront charges. So, okay, that want to be fair. What are the cons of it? Very interesting, the interview Stashaway CEO during COVID, right? So he said prior to COVID, inflows are so massive. Then COVID comes, the massive outflow also happens. Okay, so the funny thing about robo-advisors is because they gamify the whole thing, they digitize the whole thing, it makes it so easy to just go in, open an account, start. But it also becomes so easy to keep looking at it and selling it. So no human advisors also means that there is no hand-holding, there is no knowledge, there's no learning, there's no actually knowing what goes on with a portfolio, which I still think requires a plan. Because a lot of times people's life change accordingly. Number two, this is a MAS ruling, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys are also quite well versed with investment. I want to assume some of you guys are, but what are some of the shortcomings of robo-advisors are like basically, namely, if I give you one very good example, and I think you guys will bite my point. If let's say today you are a young investor, you done the questionnaire, you turn out to be a high-risk guy. You came in at 2020 January before the COVID hit the stock markets, and we saw a 38% drawdown on the S&P 500 in March 24th being the bottom. You came in high risk, the robo-advisors allocate let's say 100% into equities, a mixture of emerging markets, mainly US, European, global stocks through an ETF, you literally had a 20% to 30% drawdown. And what most likely will happen to someone who just started is, why am I so unlucky? Then comes the word capitulation. What do you do? Because as easily as you open an account, you sell and you realize you're lost. And then you know how investors go, right? They tell themselves, literally, I will not do investments again. Or I will sell and I try to get back at the bottom. But you know how foolhardy it is to try to say that I get back at the bottom. Maybe you get back at the bottom, but with maybe just 10% of your remaining money. And then when it goes up, people always say, oh, big cat bounce, it's going to come back down again. You know, all these nuances emotionally is very, very difficult from an investor point of view. Then I'll show you a classic, another example. A very lucky investor, never started investing before COVID, came in April after the lowest point in late March 2020 pandemic. Market's down 30%. Fantastic time. You'll never ever get anything. The Fed's announced massive stimulus, trillions of dollars pumped into every single money. Interest rate goes back down to zero. Makes lending literally like helicopter money. Then you come into the picture, you come in a robo-advisors and you go like, I'm not so certain, I'm not so savvy. I would put myself as low risk. And then the robo-advisors put maybe 20% or 25% of the entire portfolio into just equities or ETFs in equities. On hindsight, if you look forward all the way to now, wouldn't it make sense if something is off 30%? You would have been better buying a lot more. I like to joke about it recently, given Malaysia has banned 1st of June all the chicken export, right? If you knew on 2020 hindsight that chicken is going to be scarce, you have bought a lot more chicken, right? It wouldn't have made sense to just buy one chicken. So I think it's the same logic right now in this particular market cycle. It is always counterintuitive. Our line is difficult, but that's what also makes AUM management very scarce out there and very well sought after. Okay, then let's talk about the guys who are really goddamn good. So I've told you the pros and cons. Like what I say, I'm a very objective person. I'm not here just to sell myself. I tell all my clients, my team members, what we need to know are the strengths and weaknesses out there. And then we know what are all strengths and weaknesses out there. And then we cater to our own niche in that case. Your next best guys are your hedge fund managers. But let's be very, very frank down here. Hedge funds are really meant for accredited investors. So unless your clients can declare two main criteria, which is annualized NOA of 300,000 annual salary or 2 million net assets, less of loans, there is no way and regular retail investor, even high net worth, can have access to a hedge fund. And put it very bluntly, everything is all about diversification. You're not just going to invest with one hedge fund. You're probably going to do so. If in order for you to be an accredited investor, you really honestly need to have more than 2 to 3 million in your portfolio. So you realize the market is quite funny between the banks, which is not really very fiduciary, that say, of course, the bank will never sell you that idea they are not fiduciary. But like what I say, if you understand the monthly targets of the bankers, it is very, very hard to be very fiduciary. I'm not saying there isn't. I do have friends who still are in the banks and doing their best for their clients, but I'm just stating a fact. Then on the other very end, who are very good, who are your hedge funds. Then they are on the other end of the very high net worth. So in between there, you have your insurance agents, you have your independent financial advisors, and it doesn't help during markets like that. Everybody is herding their clients to very risk-averse instruments, which is insurance. So my take down here is to recognize all these things and realize the niche, and then focus on that. Okay, so I want to be very, very also candid about it. I think a lot of guys out there will try to sell and build a team. Oh, I've got leads for you. Kid me not lah. PDPA is so stringent nowadays, and even if you manage to get leads out there, it's being resold over and over again. A lot of times, social media is already a very good way to be very subtle in terms of actually doing sales. And let me just share a little bit what Phillip has been doing for us, which once again, like what I say, is so brilliant because like what I say, I don't want in Chinese saying 自卖自夸, but I'm aware other people are not Chinese down here. 自卖自夸 means sell your own melon like selling your own wares, right? So boast your own things. I'll be very fair down here. I've got friends who are very strong in PIAS and Finexis. A lot of their advertising is not done on the company level, it's done on the team level. They spend a lot of money to do social media marketing. Down here is different. Phillip use and assist us in using the company's brand name to do social media marketing for us. You are not going to find something out there. Okay, one other point, I like what I mentioned, when I left the bank, what's the main thing that bank customers always want, or any of your potential non-banking clients or even bank clients will want? Stability. Phillip is, Nabil, help me with this. How old is Phillip this year? 48 years old, right?
46.
Oh no, 46, so sorry. So
47,
I think
47.
47. So we're the oldest IFA firms in Singapore. To me, the age matters a lot because it's all about stability, right? When it comes to money, that really matters. So that's one of the key reasons. So when Phillip allowed us to use their name, it also says a lot, and it's a testament to our own stability of running this business. So I think it's very important. So that's one of the strengths. So this is thanks to Mei Ling, who is our partnership department boss head. She has contacts in 96.3and 95.8, which is basically Chinese FM, 2 major radio stations, which is a very, I would say, a very big audience. As you know, Chinese-speaking people will mostly listen to, and of course, Joe San San. So you can see most of my team members, myself, Hong Wei, Claire, Christine, and Sun Guan, they've tapped on. So we're hoping that almost all our team members, leverage on the connections that's been built on. So basically, it really helped us to elevate our presence. And a lot of times, how do I say, once you become a public figure, we used to joke, right? Last time, before social media, if you're a property agent, you tell everybody you're property. If you're an insurance agent, you tell everybody you're insurance. The last thing you want to do is to be a secret agent, and nobody knows what you're doing. Basically, you'll be a secret forever. So my point down here is, this is fantastic, right? Because if we were to tie up our own connections, there is no way a radio is going to say, hey, who are you? I mean, I'm not just going to do a broadcast just for you. So that's very important. Okay, so every now and then when we win awards, Phillip do some of this announcement on their Facebook page, and I think it's also very helpful because then we can share the article, we can retag. Because same thing, once again, I'm not sure whether any of you done business before. Sales psychology of people is a very strange thing. How we often so my wife is now doing 2 business. She's not working for me already, because I think also kudos to Phillip during COVID time. We literally digitized onboarding and everything. We nowadays we don't need to really go office to run business at all. So my wife found her calling in her own business, and we always joke, I mean, among businessmen and businesswomen is, if you ever do business, your family members and friends discount you a lot more than the public does. And I think it's true, because one of the key things, and everybody wise will know, I'll give William 1-2 years and I'll test him out first, see whether he's got longevity in this business that he's doing. So a lot of this award gives silent accreditation to you. And it's very important, because when your peers and your community and your network over time realize that, hey, you've been consistently winning awards, it's not about showing off, it's about credibility. And this helps to shorten the span of time to garner credibility, because normally, even myself, some of my JC mates, I give you one example of social media. I'm a non-believer at the start, even prior to COVID. My wife is a small-time mommy influencer, and it's quite amazing because she garnered almost, now she's doing another business. She's got 2 businesses. Her social media has 5,000 organic true mommy, and she's doing this business where she literally have 2 to 3 prospects a day. And I always joke with her, I wish I could have 2 to 3 prospects a day. That's going to translate to 365 times 2. That's going to give me like 700 clients. If 700 clients each give me 20 to 50,000, I'm literally running 100 over a billion. I literally can I'd be very, very comfortable. So my point here is, one of the key takeaways, one of my JC mate, we just connected on Instagram, right? So I normally share my investment articles, some of my awards on my IG stories. And strangely, she straight away just messaged me. And it's just one example. There are a few handful examples. And I always thought, nah, you know, IGs and Facebook, what's the kind of case count that will come in? Nah, the most they are just going to be very mess with you. I literally thought so, like maybe 5,000, 10,000, the most 50,000. This JC mate of mine, who is my senior, who is my bowling captain, same name as me, William, different surname for me. We reconnected prior to COVID 2019, gave me about 50 grand to manage. And I thought, yeah, you know, yeah, so be it, right? He's running a business. I don't want to say just for confidentiality. The world is very small, so we still have PDPA here. So basically, to sum it up, 2020, our track record was pretty good. We clocked about 15% risk adjusted. Then he asked me for a proposal. Long story short, last year in July, he gave me a check of 2 million. And I got a shock of my life. And then I really realized that social media, it is not what you think it is. Sometimes I always think that it's more of, you have a lot of people out there in your network. They may know people who are very rich. They may have inheritance themselves. They don't go around telling people why. Money is a very sensitive thing. You tell people you're rich, who you invite. Hey, I want to borrow money from you. 我要跟你借钱. And then you attract all kinds of funny people. So the last thing I know is to flaunt your wealth. So a lot of these people are looking for people who they can trust. So all this is what I call subtle selling. So if you're good at what you do, you lay the foundation that when time is ripe, these prospects will come knocking on your door, and you'll be surprised at some of these things. But of course, we can go into more details how to actually start the business from flat. Okay, so every now and then we do stuff like, why do we choose PhillipCapital? And I think it's a very subtle way to also, this is done by Phillip also, to help to do very soft advertising, like, you know, like how you see DBS and OCBC. Remember, you still used to go cinema and then you have like young kids, young children. It's very subtle kind of advertising. We do the same thing down here. And I think, once again, credit to partnership department for doing all this thing for us. Also, one other thing, when you join us, there's always the possibility of you building your own micro team. So even like today's career seminar, nothing stops you from building your team in the future. So there are a lot of ways that you can go around. Some people want to build their own investment management business. Some people want to build their own team. There is nothing stopping you from doing whatever you want to achieve. The main thing is to find the right platform to do so. So recently, we also started a video podcast. And I think the whole key thing was to really drive whole point of getting many avenues out there, so that when people Google you, you have a social media presence. And I think that's extremely important in today's world. Yeah, and I think one of the key things is, it's not about all this social media. In Chinese they call it dong dong chang. If you watch, you know, lion dance, tick 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 tick. My point is not really that. A lot through the conversations when you're having a podcast, when you talk about very technical stuff, it shows the methodology, your mindset, your experience in managing money, and that translates to engaging the audience who are potentially your prospects, your friends, your classmates, your colleagues, your ex-colleagues, your relatives, your even strangers or members of the public, to size up your mental intuitiveness towards the markets, therefore leading to the sales. So it is what it is. Singaporeans are not just, mostly are all quite smart. So I would think that if you want to attract the big money, all this becomes a very good avenue to so-called showcase. These are my two girls. No idea what she was digging her nose when I took this screen grab. So this was done at my home basically to introduce. I think we did a story like basically my whole life journey down here. So this is also kudos once again to partnership department. Once again, I'm showcasing what. No point telling what partnership is doing, showing you in reality what has already been done. And this was right before COVID. So it really helps a lot and gives a lot of confidence to future clients and existing clients. So this is a Father's Day shout out for various guys, my team. So I think it's a fantastic way to basically every now and then, whether Father's Day, Mother's Day, Women's Day, Christmas, New Year, we have things that we can roll out on the social media on a very constant basis. Okay, good question. One of the other ways is seminars. Good thing about right now that is most SMM measures, safety measurement measures are all taken down, is that we can go back to face-to-face seminars. And I think it's fantastic. So one of the key things that I do a lot for my team members is we can revert to having face-to-face seminars. And a lot of times it's very powerful. So normally your clients or your friends will bring in referrals. The closure rates are very, very high because it, like what I say, seminars is also one of the best way to establish your methodology, how you go around it. So those are one of those things that we also focus on. So this is my contact. My LinkedIn profile is down there. Feel free to take a screen grab on this. At the same time, if any questions, feel free to reach out to Nabil or Mei Ling or reach out for them for my contact if you missed this part. I'll now throw the floor to either back to Nabil or to Mei Ling or to anybody out there who might want to ask a question. You can either chat it, put it in the chat box, or you can just voice it out down here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, William, for the insightful, open. I think you share a lot and very sincere sharing too. Yes, we are there to support our FAs, our partnership department, all of us, and to support all of you, our FAs, our partners. Yeah, from onboarding to training, to productivity support. So our department consists of few segments from system, marketing, as well as recruitment, productivity, and process. Yeah. So we are there to support. And if you have any questions, participants here tonight, you can unmute yourself to ask your questions. Or if you not convenient to unmute yourself, you can also type your questions at the chat box. Yeah, we'll be happy to answer. Is there any question either for William or me or Nabil?
Hi everyone. Feel free to take this opportunity to type down your questions in the chat box, or if you wish to unmute yourself to ask any questions, you're more than welcome to as well. We will still be here, and we will wait for any burning queries that you have. And there are 3 of us here to take on any questions that you might have. So please, feel free, don't be shy.
Yeah. Nabil, if there's no question, we can end the session first. We can end the session. Yeah, okay.
All right. I've also shared William's Talk to Phillip link right over there. So you can access the William's Talk to Phillip link. And I hope you've also managed to take a screenshot of his page. And of course, you can also reach out to me and Mei Ling if you wish to get more information, or if you want to ask more questions as well. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Nabil. I've also shared our website as well as William website is also in our chat. So those of you who are interested to find out more, you want to contact us, you can you can click on the website to find out more. There will be some more videos shared in our entrepreneurship website.
Thank you very much for joining us this
Yeah.
evening.
Thank you once again for joining us tonight. Yeah,
Yep,
thank you
you
all.
everybody.
Big
Thank
thanks to
you.
William and big thanks to Milling.
Yeah, thank you, Nabil. Thank you, Mini. Thank you, all the participants for spending the evening with us. Yeah, have a good night.
Night.
Yep, I think Andrew has a name. Yeah, sorry, Andrew has a question.
Has a question?
Yeah. So those of you by question can stay on. Yeah. What's next, right? Okay. You can Andrew just a quick sharing. William, you can take the questions, also can add on just to share that if you're interested to join us, William's team, this will be the general requirements. Above 21 years old, Singaporean or PR, you need to meet some academic requirement. But most importantly, you have the strong desire to succeed. And of course, I believe William will be more than happy to share his strategy with you, and partnership will be there to support your business too. Of course, you need to have the willingness to self and as well as to help your clients. Yeah, high level integrity because we are in the financial industry. So to reach out to us, or you can call William directly at a contact number provided. Yeah. So they will be next. We'll reach out to you too. Yeah. William, do you want to add more for to the question?
Not really. I think what we can do is I think this on a platform might be a little bit private in that sense, because I think everybody's situation is a bit different. So I think we can take it offline. Yep.
Yep. I've also provided my number in the chat box right over there, so you can save my number as well. For any queries, you can WhatsApp me or call me. I'll be more than happy to answer any queries you have.
I have a question from someone who texts me directly in a chat box. So the question is how to qualify for the portfolio manager role or any security deposit needed for the role. Because it's a direct message, so I don't mention the name. The answer to the question is that there's no security deposit. Likely, this candidate has industry experience, because as a stockbroker, there's a requirement for 30,000 deposit, not for FA, not for portfolio manager. There is no security deposit required for portfolio manager or financial advisor. I hope they answer your question. Thanks. Thanks for the question. Yeah. Okay, so I think we have a small group now. Yeah, I received more questions, Nabil. So the question will be, okay, hold on. What is the terms? Let me just open my question box. How to qualify? Okay. Do submit the application to us, and I think we have shared the contact numbers as well. We will look at the we'll contact you again for further discussion on that. We noted that you are interested for the role of portfolio manager. We have another question, I think, from Kanan or Nabil.
What is the SD for trading representative? SD, Mr. Kanan, do you mind explaining what is SD? I'm not too sure. Milling, do you happen to know a security deposit? I see. Okay. Security deposit. Okay. Awesome. So, for the role of the trading representative, I believe this would be of good information to everyone over here as well, if you're still around. We do collect a collateral of 30,000 as a minimum to be a trading representative and to be able to execute trades across all the accounts that you're going to open. So this 30,000 collateral deposit, we will accept it via banker's guarantee, cash, or even check.
Can I add on, Nabil? Yeah, thank you, Nabil. So, Kanan, there is another scheme. There is no need for security deposit. So those who are interested to be FA and TR, which means you are trading rate license, you're stockbroker and you're FA at the same time. Yes, we have certain scheme without security deposit. But that also means there's no control for your client. But what I like the most about being FA, while you're doing your FA business, do take note that any trading account, open account, poems account, there's any transaction, you do take a cut also. And there will be a central dealing team assisting your clients, doing all the margin calls, reports, doing all the, in the terms we call it settlement call and all this. Yeah, while the dealing team is supporting you, you still take a cut, probably, of course, slower percentage compared to a full stockbroking license. But yes, all our FAs are paid based on referral for opening poems trading account. We hope did answer your questions, Kenan. Yep. Okay.
Mr. Kanan, you have my number. You can just WhatsApp me or drop me a call. Then we can take it offline as well. Thank you.
Yeah, Nabil, I think there's no other questions.
All
If
right.
there's no other questions, we can end today's session because you feel free to reach out to us if you have any question. Yeah, thank you once again for attending
Thank you
today's
once
session.
again. Thanks,
Good night,
William.
all.
Big thanks, Milling. Thank you, everyone. Good
Big
night.
thanks to William
everybody.
for
Yep.
presenting
everyone.
today too. Thank you, everyone.
See you.
Bye bye.